$847 billion worth of shiny new cars now sit stagnating under a blistering sun, metal monuments to an industry that pushed the accelerator long after the road ran out. While families debate grocery budgets inside air-conditioned kitchens, entire dealerships are hawking their hydraulic lifts and coffee makers at liquidation auctions. How did America's most visible symbol of prosperity, rows of fresh paint and chrome, become a yard sale overnight? This is the tale of overconfidence, debt, electric dreams deferred, and a once-in-a-lifetime buying window that could change how each of us owns a car forever. But the first domino fell long before those fire sale banners went up.
When pandemic shortages hit, automakers fought tooth and nail for every microchip, then discovered a pleasant side effect. Limited supply meant record sticker prices. Executives and shareholders tasted margins they'd only fantasized about during the 0% financing frenzy of the previous decade. Assembly lines, temporarily slowed by lockdowns, revved back to full speed, then shifted past redline. Still, production targets stayed frozen in time, a corporate echo of those high-margin months. Warehouse lots overflowed to rented fairgrounds, then to dusty acres along freeways, each row indistinguishable from the last. The numbers ballooned until industry analysts could hardly say them with a straight face. Nearly $900 billion of unsold inventory. Enough capital to fund 10 lunar missions, rusting one rainstorm at a time. Yet inventory was only the opening act. The next casualty would be the neighborhood dealer that sponsored your kid's Little League team. Letters stamped confidential arrived at 800 Chrysler franchises, warning that contracts would not be renewed. General Motors followed with similar notices to roughly 1,000 more. Behind each envelope lay decades of family ownership, neon signs that once lit up small-town highways, and service bays that kept Sunday softball leagues employed. Take Heritage Ford of Omaha. 67 years of trade-ins, high fives in the showroom, and that annual customer barbecue where the ribs never ran out. When the liquidation hammer fell, a diagnostic computer bought for $25,000 sold for $800. Lounge furniture fetched the price of a used toaster. Even the flag outside, with a showroom pole that stood through the Great Depression, went to a scrap dealer for less than a movie ticket. Pole included. Nationwide, nearly half of America's new car outlets face potential closure by 2026. Local papers report cascading effects. Property tax holes, vanished sponsorships, and empty service bays that once doubled as community gathering spots. Some proprietors cling to used car sales. Others weld their 40-foot Ford logo into garden art and walk away. To plug the hemorrhage, the automakers reach for the one lever they still controlled, production. But slamming on the brakes causes its own wreck. Boardrooms suddenly filled with phrases like extended summer shutdown, cash conservation mode, and in one leak slide, survival sprint. Plants idled for weeks. Second shifts disappeared with a single conference call. Executives paraded renewed discipline to investors even as they quietly earmarked billions for open-ended rebates. By spring, those unheard-of incentives returned. 0% APR, once a relic of the pre-inflation era, reappeared on banners. Pickup trucks advertised 5-figure cash back, the kind of rebate that used to move iron off lots before holiday weekends. Average transaction prices, which had marched upward for 3 straight years, finally dipped, though not without protest from buyers who had grown wary of hidden dealer add-ons. Even with factory taps tightened, parking lots remained stuffed, and the next challenge loomed electric green on every PowerPoint. Battery-powered vehicles that now lacked an eager audience. Because the future was supposed to be electric, until it suddenly wasn't. Electric prototypes once dazzled auto shows with gull-wing doors and 0 to 60 numbers fit for a supercar. Corporate press releases promised fully electric lineups by the latter half of the decade. Then reality barged in wearing a parka and asking, "Where's my charging station?" Jaguar Land Rover became the latest in a parade of brands to postpone marquee electric launches, citing extended testing, global tariff uncertainty, and an unspoken fear, building thousands of vehicles that nobody could afford once federal credits dried up. Unsold EVs stockpiled even faster than gasoline cousins, partly because early adopters already owned one, and mainstream shoppers balked at price tags that could rival a starter home. Dealers found themselves contractually obliged to install fast chargers at 6-figure cost. While those chargers gathered dust, the break-even math looked worse each day. Inventory piled higher. Some retailers begged manufacturers for hybrid allocations instead, something easier to sell in cold climates where battery range tumbles with the temperature. But where manufacturers see headache, savvy consumers see opportunity, and the buyer's window finally cracks open. Excess supply is kryptonite to sticker prices. Within weeks, sales managers who once tossed offers token discounts like breadcrumbs, began slicing $5,000, then $8,000, then $10,000 off MSRP to anyone willing to sign before the month's end. Social media filled with triumphant selfies, grinning drivers next to sedans they acquired for less than the used version cost 6 months earlier. Lease deals, long considered mythical, resurfaced. Shoppers walked out with lower monthly payments by structuring 18-month terms the way streaming services hook viewers with free trials. Used car lanes at auction grew crowded as repossessed vehicles re-entered circulation, pushing down prices further. Independent dealers, sensing blood in the water, bid aggressively, then passed part of the savings to retail customers. For first-time buyers and frugal families, this was the sweet spot. Plenty of selection, motivated sellers, and enough information online to play dealerships against one another. One couple in Phoenix shaved $14,000 from a midsize SUV simply by showing the manager a competitor's VIN on a smartphone. Yet bargains bloom beside thorny stems, and the thickest thorns pierce the loan market.
During the boom, finance offices stretched loan terms like taffy. 5 years became 6. 6 slid to 7. Interest rate hikes then multiplied the total paid over a vehicle's life. Now, with resale values slipping, many owners owe more than their car would fetch on its best day at auction. That negative equity traps families who need a bigger vehicle or just want out of a crippling payment. Early-stage delinquencies, those first missed bills that foreshadow bigger trouble, have climbed past levels seen before the pandemic. Repossession trucks crisscross apartment complexes at dawn, hauling away SUVs whose owners skipped 3 payments while choosing between rent and groceries. Those units pour back into wholesale channels, adding still more supply. Even prime borrowers, folks with solid credit, aren't immune. Economic soft patches combined with ballooning insurance premiums leave little margin for error. At some lenders, default rates already exceed the aftermath of the 2008 crisis. If the trend worsens, the hit could reverberate from local banks to global bond markets that bundle auto loans into investment products. Yet chaos often seeds reinvention, and behind showroom shutters, a new model quietly accelerates. When one door closes, a smartphone app opens. Younger buyers raised on next-day delivery and ride-sharing increasingly expect vehicles to arrive the same way gadgets do. A few taps, a confirmed payment, doorstep delivery. Tesla pioneered the idea, but legacy automakers now rush to copy it, especially in states that loosen franchise law restrictions. Parallel to that shift, subscription services gain traction. Pay a flat monthly fee, swap sedans for crossovers as life evolves, cancel whenever. The model appeals to Gen Z drivers wary of long-term debt and unconvinced that any technology, battery chemistry included, will stay current for more than 2 years. Market researchers project subscription revenue to multiply nearly 8-fold by the early 30s, powered by data that allows fleets to preempt maintenance and optimize residual values. Traditional dealerships that survive may morph into service hubs, focusing on repair contracts and certified inspections. Some entrepreneurs already refurbish closed showrooms into logistics depots for last-mile delivery vans, a pivot that keeps service bays buzzing, even if no new car smell wafts through the lobby. So with foundations cracking and new pillars rising, where does the road lead next? Industry insiders predict a consolidation wave. Mega dealer groups and private equity funds will scoop distressed franchises for pennies on the dollar, bundling them into regional powerhouses that mirror supermarket chains. Rural areas, left without a nearby showroom, could become transportation deserts unless state or federal programs step in with mobile service trucks and community charging centers. On the manufacturing side, executives privately admit that realignments aren't over. Production cuts of 10 to 15% remain on the table for 2026, aimed at restoring balance between output and purchasing power. Meanwhile, battery research presses forward, and policymakers weigh fresh incentives that might reignite EV demand without sparking a new bubble. Investors, smelling both danger and opportunity, shuffle portfolios into suppliers poised to win no matter which propulsion system dominates. Whether hydrogen, solid-state batteries, or a revamped internal combustion engine grabs the spotlight, somebody will sell the software, sensors, and rare earth metals required to make it move. Yet the biggest shift may be psychological. Consumers, hammered by years of price whiplash and conflicting narratives. We began with nearly $900 billion of unsold cars baking in summer heat, and we traced the fallout through shuttered dealerships, panicked production cuts, an unexpected glut of discounts, a swelling tide of delinquencies, and finally an industry sprinting toward app-based subscriptions and direct delivery. The steering wheel is in motion, but no one can say for sure where this lane change ends. Will you snag the deal of a lifetime, or watch your hometown dealer's flag drop to half-mast during another bankruptcy sale? If you learned something new today, hit the subscribe button so you never miss the next twist. Then dive into the comments and tell us what scares you most about buying a car right now: the price, the loan, or the fear your dealer might vanish before your first oil change. Your stories could shape our upcoming deep dive on spotting a dealership on the brink before you sign anything. Thanks for riding along. The market may be upside down, but knowledge is the closest thing to traction you'll find on this winding road.